Welcome back everyone to a video, and today we are ranking all 32 quarterbacks and a couple more actually, so technically like 34, 35 quarterbacks so far in the 2024 NFL season. It's been a while since I've done an A tier list, and I like doing them. I know a lot of you like whenever I upload these videos, so I thought might as well do this. Yeah, is it kind of a weird time to do it going into week 6? Maybe, but who cares? I wanted to kind of check in, see how some of these guys are ranking compared to whenever we last ranked them, which I believe was 2 months ago. So we're going to be checking in with this. There are a few players that are a little hard to rank, and we'll talk about them whenever we get to them because of injuries. So it's like a little skewed because they haven't played as much as the other guys. So it's not going to be a perfect ranking, but once again, we'll get to that whenever that time comes. One thing to note is I'm recording this before the Thursday night football game between Brock Purdy and Geno Smith, so I haven't seen that yet. And whenever you guys are going to be seeing this video, you will have seen it. It would have already happened. So just pretend it hasn't happened yet, because when I'm talking about it, it hasn't. So I'm not letting that Thursday night football game affect these rankings. So yeah, I know, again, a little weird, but just to keep that in mind. Starting out, though, we have the S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, and D tier. Again, pretty self-explanatory. S is like the highest. I always try and have that around like top 5 to 6, maybe even 7 players sometimes. And then A, B, C, and D. I try to have D as like the bottom 3 to 4 players in whatever ranking I'm doing. So with that said, first player up is Matthew Stafford. I think he's kind of tough to rank because, yeah, statistically, as far as touchdowns go, I think he has, very few, but he's been missing his top 2 targets for pretty much the entirety of the season. And passing-wise, he isn't top 10 in yards. So, and again, just based on talent itself, Matthew Stafford, I think, is very, very talented. I think he is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. But ranking this so far within the first 5 weeks, I think there is a balance between finding, yes, factoring in his talent, but also his stats, and then also the overall team record. I'm going to have him at B. Matthew Stafford is definitely an A tier quarterback. You can argue an S tier quarterback. We might move him up at the end to A tier. We'll have to see how it goes. But starting out with him, B tier. But again, Stafford overall is much better than a B tier quarterback. So please remember that these rankings are only factoring in the first 5 games we've already had, not the entirety of their careers, not the entirety of last season, not what we know from them, just what we have the first 5 games, just to make that clear. Because this ranking is going to look really, really weird if you think otherwise. Next is Patrick Mahomes. And again, Mahomes is, in my opinion, pretty easily the best quarterback in the entire NFL, but this year he has had a little bit of a slow start. He has 6 touchdowns to 6 interceptions, which is tied for first in interceptions in the NFL with, I believe, Anthony Richardson and Will Levis. So not what you want to see there. Also his weapons, Hollywood Brown, who they brought in, he got hurt before the season even started. Now Rashee Rice is out for the year. Travis Kelce did step up in their most recent game, but still, it's been a bit rough on Mahomes. I'm going to put him A tier. I think we have some guys in S tier that are technically having a better season right now. So yes, Mahomes is the best in the league, but again, as of right now, A tier. Hopefully that makes sense for you guys now that you kind of get Mahomes out of the way, where yes, he's the best, but A tier just for this video. Josh Allen is next, and I'm going to put Josh Allen in S tier, which I'm sure will anger a lot of people because I have Mahomes in A tier. But again, through those first few games, Josh Allen's been great. Unfortunately, I don't think he has a concussion, but he definitely got knocked out in that game whenever they let him go back in there. If you watch that replay, he definitely gets knocked out, but I don't know. He went back in. I guess he cleared concussion protocol. But yeah, so Khalil Shakir's number 1 weapon right now has been injured with an ankle injury, but Josh Allen has played very, very well in an offense that I think a lot of people were anticipating taking a huge step back with losing Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. I think Shakir's been great. I think Keon Coleman has stepped up, especially in their most recent game. Josh Allen's been able to do it all with his legs, with his arm. I'm going to put him S tier. You could probably make an argument for maybe having him A tier if you're like super, super specific about what kind of qualifies as being in the S tier, but I'm going to have him S tier for this ranking. Next is Justin Fields. Fields is going to go B tier. I think some people like to put him C tier and say that he hasn't played like super tough opponents yet and stuff like that. But from what we saw in Chicago, I think Fields has looked much better, to be honest. I think he does tend to bail from clean pockets a bit early sometimes, which is his issue in Chicago as well. not always reading the defenses and relying too much on his legs. But I think it's been much better in Pittsburgh, and it's amounted to a lot of wins. So I have to give him a lot of credit there. I'm going to give him B tier. Yes, it is weird to see him in a tier with Matthew Stafford. So again, you can do that. I wouldn't really argue with it. In fact, I'll leave him there for right now, and we'll kind of look over it once our list is done. But yeah, so Fields B tier. Next is Caleb Williams. I'm going to give Caleb Williams the B tier. It seems like each week he's gotten better, though. I think the first couple weeks it was a bit kind of just below average, and then it slowly started getting better and better to where this past week against Carolina, big breakout game for him, which I did predict for the record. So good for him. I'm glad he's getting better each week. Jayden Daniels has really kind of set the bar for rookie quarterbacks, and that bar is very, very high. So yes, Caleb Williams is not the best rookie quarterback as of right now, but he hasn't been bad either, and he's only improved. So all good signs, at least for me. I'm putting him in B tier. Next is Kirk Cousins. I'm going to put Kirk in the B tier. And it's a weird time to do it because he just had like a 500-yard passing game. But that really is an outlier. And I love Kirk Cousins, but like looking across his entire season, no, that's not been the level of play he's been at. Now, if this is a turning point for him, then that's great. But we're not ranking how I think he's going to do games from now. It's what he's shown so far. So, yes, the 500-yard game was unbelievable in prime time. But the rest of the season, he's just been solid and not much more than that, in my opinion. But again, I hope he continues to get better. He's kind of an Achilles tear. It's not like it's a minor setback. It's a major recovery from that injury. So he's getting better every week, I think, kind of like Caleb Williams, so just, in different circumstances. But Kirk is B tier for me as of right now. Next is Jayden Daniels, and Daniels is going to go A tier. He's been unbelievable as a rookie. He's, I think, making a run at the NFL record for completion percentage on the year. I mean, he's been very, very good with the ball. Hasn't had a lot of turnover-worthy plays. He's taken great shots down the field. He's extended plays with his legs. He's been good as a rusher. He's really just done everything you wanted him to, and he's done it all at a very high level. So major props to him. Got to give him A tier. Very, very happy for Commanders fans there as well. Next is Justin Herbert. I love Herbert. He's going to go B tier. I think some people could probably even put him C tier. I'm not going to put him that low. It's just a much different Chargers offense than what we've seen. Also, to be fair, he's dealing with an injury, so it kind of hurts the ranking a little bit there. But Herbert in the past, I think, has been more of like that just strong-arm quarterback, taking a lot of shots on the field. That's just not really what the Chargers offense is right now. It's just not, for one, they don't really have the weapons to even pull it off, even if they wanted to. And, second, I think Jim Harbaugh just has a different vision for the team right now, which honestly, props to him because I think he knows they couldn't play the way they played in the past on offense. They have to kind of shift gears just schematically and just to try and pull out wins. And I think it's been a solid offense so far. But again, Herbert, I would not put him in A tier as of right now. But Herbert's a great player, and I hope he can stay healthy. This is why I've been telling you guys to keep in mind we are only factoring in the first 5 games and not careers. Because next is Sam Darnold, and Sam Darnold's going to go in the S tier. So that's why I've said multiple times to keep that in mind. We are not ranking careers. We are not ranking what we've seen in the past. We are not ranking the entire season and predicting ahead. It is just what we've seen, and Sam Darnold has been very, very good for the Vikings. He's been good about not turning the ball over. Yes, he's thrown some interceptions, but if we remember Sam Darnold in the past, it's been way worse than what we've seen right now. And he had a phenomenal game. I think against the Texans was his best, where he had, I think, around 180 yards and 4 touchdowns. But again, even other than that, he had a 300-yard game. I can't remember who it was against, but he's like top 5 in, I think, passing yards and passing touchdowns. So major props to him. The Vikings' hopes basically relied on him after McCarthy went down, because if they didn't have a quarterback, that offense was going to be looking really rough. But he stepped up. Very happy for Sam Darnold and Vikings fans. He's going to go S tier. He's been phenomenal, as weird as that looks. Next is Bryce Young. He's going to go D tier. Again, this is kind of a weird one because he hasn't played as many games as everybody else. But I think we all know, even if he has, he would probably still be in the D tier. So Bryce Young's going in the D tier. Next is CJ Stroud. Stroud's going A tier. Again, this is someone you could probably make a case at going into the S tier. But I'm trying to... Actually, we'll get that at the end. Just hold that thought. Don't get all angry with me yet. I have something to say at the end of the video, so just hang on to that. But CJ Stroud, though, he's definitely going to go A tier. You can make a case for him being S tier. Just really picked up where he left off last year. He's been great at extending plays, taking deep shots. Unfortunately, though, Nico Collins injured for at least the next 4 weeks on IR, so that's probably going to take a little bit of a hit to their passing game. We'll see who steps up, whether it's Diggs, whether it's Tank Dell. I guess we'll see, but Stroud's still been phenomenal at quarterback. Next is Joe Burrow, and okay, this might anger people. I'm gonna put Joe Burrow S tier with only one win on the record, but I mean he leads the league in like passing yards, passing touchdowns, passer rating. His defense it just happens to be a like JV high school defense. I mean it's just really really bad. He played very well against Baltimore. He did have a very costly interception toward the end of the game, but I think Ja'Marr Chase actually owned up to that, saying it was a bad route, and he kind of allowed the DB to cut in there when he should have had a bit of a harder cut. So, sucks. But Burrow's had a great year, just hasn't really amounted to anything. I can't imagine how frustrating that is because, the other two guys up there have had some pretty good wins under their belt, while Burrow's best win was against, I don't even remember who that was now. Oh, Carolina, that's right. Moving on from him, though, next is Tua. I don't really know what to do about this one, to be honest, because he's played the first 2 games but hasn't played since, and it feels kind of wrong to put him in D tier because there's not enough, film on him for this year, but it also feels wrong to put him in, the B tier with guys that he's only played, less than half their games. So we're going to skip Tua for right now. I don't think Tyler Huntley is actually on this list at all, so I technically can't rank a Dolphins quarterback. But Dolphins fans, I'm sure you know if Tyler Huntley was on this list, you could probably guess where he'd be going. So we will move on from Tua. Next is Baker Mayfield. Baker's going to go A tier. I think Baker's just been so good this year. I was very happy for him last year because I did not think he would be good last year at all. And he proved me wrong, and a lot of other people picked it up this year. He's been very, very good. It just sucks that Thursday Night Football game, I want overtime rules where we can see both offenses. Like, in a game that high scoring, that exciting, Baker just loses because he didn't get a chance to touch the ball. I'm sorry. I hate that because, and I know the argument there is well, he had plenty of time in, the last 4 quarters to win the game then. But it's yeah, but so did the other team that also went to overtime. So, I don't know. I want college overtime rules. I'm a big fan of college overtime. It's really exciting. Just a little tangent there. Sorry about that. But yeah, Baker Mayfield, A tier. Very happy for him. Next is Brock Purdy. He's also going to go A tier. Brock's been very good, and I mean, okay, even if you don't want to say very good, he's down all of his best weapons, or at least he was at some point. And a lot of people, including myself, not going to lie, in the past, I was very skeptical how he would play without some of those weapons, and he's been pretty good. I think even Jawan Jennings actually got hurt, who was his new number 1 whenever Debo wasn't playing and Ayuk was invisible. I think he has George Kittle back now, I believe, unless he got hurt again. McCaffrey, though, the big one, obviously still not playing. Really hurts the 49ers. They have a big game tonight. We'll see how that goes. But Brock Purdy, I'm going to give him A tier. I think I've kind of disrespected him a little bit in the past when it comes to rankings. I'm not going to say he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, but he's been very good, especially this year under circumstances that have been honestly kind of stacked against him. So props to Brock there. He's going A tier. Next is Gardner Minshew, who's going D tier. Has he really been that bad? Maybe not, but he just got benched for Aiden O'Connell, so he can't be that good. Yes, he had a big win over the Ravens. He wasn't putting up Bryce Young numbers, but still very bad. He's going D tier. Next is Bo Nix. I think Bo is going to be our first guy to go in the C tier. I think he has gotten better. So technically, you could probably make an argument his last couple games that maybe he belongs in the B tier. In my opinion, I haven't seen enough in the first 5 games to really put him there. So he's going to go in the C tier. But I will say, the current pace he's shown the last couple weeks, Bo could definitely move up to B tier if we were doing this 3 weeks from now. So, props to Bo there, but he's going to go C tier. Next is Trevor Lawrence. I love Trevor. He's going to go C tier. Yeah, they have a win now, but he's been very lackluster. The Jaguars as a whole have been very lackluster. Doug Peterson is definitely on the hot seat right now, it sounds like. So we'll see how that goes. Again, could you put him B tier? Maybe, but I don't really want to do that considering those guys have more than just 1 win. And I don't know. I don't feel right about it, even though I like Trevor. So he's going C tier. And yes, I know I have Burrow in S tier, even though he only has 1 win. But let's go ahead and compare Burrow's stats to Lawrence's stats, and I think it's a somewhat fair ranking. Next is Kyler Murray. I don't know, maybe I'm being too generous, but he's going A tier as well. Though I feel like I have a lot of guys in the A tier, but Kyler's been great, and this is something that I mentioned way back in last, I think, February, of someone to watch because Kyler is so disrespected when it comes to all of his Call of Duty jokes and the short jokes. Kyler's a great quarterback, and he's shown that in the past when he had a competent offense and coaching around him. He hadn't had that as of late, and then he tore his ACL. So now that he's back, I think he has some better coaching. He's got Marvin Harrison Jr., he's got Michael Wilson, he's got James Conner back there, Trey McBride. It's been a very exciting offense to watch. I'm very happy for Kyler. He's going A tier. Next is Aaron Rodgers, who is going to just really go B tier. You can maybe make a case for C tier, to be honest, as well. But given he's coming off an Achilles injury, I think he's been pretty solid. Same with Kirk Cousins. Maybe Kirk's been a little bit better, but Rodgers has had some high moments as well. And he's also been just a Jets offense that's been very dysfunctional. I think after they just fired Robert Saleh, I believe the interim head coach has now changed play calling duties from Nathaniel Hackett. So maybe that makes a difference. I don't know. But it's been a really weird offense. Some really nice flashes and then some really just bad moments where it's like, what are you, like, just, what are you doing? We'll have Rodgers B tier. Could you put him C tier? Honestly, maybe, but I'll leave him B tier for right now. Next, Andy Dalton, who is going to go C tier. He had a really nice moment coming in, starting against the Raiders, got a win, huge game. After that, he's come back down to earth a little bit. Has he been terrible? No, not really. If I was a really generous fan, maybe I'd put him B tier, but he's just going to go C tier. I haven't been super impressed. He's kept the Panthers in games maybe more than Bryce Young would have been able to do, so thanks, I guess, but he's just going to go C tier. Next is Jacoby Brissett. He's going to go D tier. He's been pretty bad. Patriots, pretty bad. I think it's kind of enough said there. He's going D tier. Drake May starting, though. Very excited about that. Not sure how good it'll be against the Texans defense and behind a terrible O-line that's made of like Swiss cheese, but I don't know. I think it'll be at least exciting to see somebody else besides Jacoby Brissett back there. He's going D tier. Next is Jalen Hurts. Hurts is going to go B tier. You could maybe say C tier. He's been pretty bad. I'm going to give him a little bit of grace, though, because he has been without his top two weapons, kind of like Stafford, except Stafford's been way better without his top two weapons. So, yeah, Hurts is going to go B tier. Yes, when A.J. Brown gets back this week and Devontae Smith, I think it will be I think it'll be a better Jalen Hurts. But still, though, even with them back, when they were playing, I wouldn't have ranked him A tier, to be honest. So I don't know. Maybe I'm too generous there getting him B tier. I don't know. Let me know down below, by the way, like, what rankings I'm getting right versus wrong, what you guys think. I'm very open to, your guys' opinions and stuff, obviously. This isn't like a hard set list. This is just how I've kind of analyzed the first 5 games. But yeah, so Hurts, B tier right there. Next is Jared Goff, who's also going to go A tier. You could put him S tier, to be honest. He went like 18 for 18, 100% completion percentage against the Seahawks. Primetime football, big win. Great win for the Lions. Great performance from Goff. He's been a great quarterback. Again, I will address why no one else is going in S tier as of right now. So just wait. I promise it will make sense. Next is Anthony Richardson. So he's going to go C tier. I do like him a lot, but he's been banged up, and then when he was playing, he wasn't that great either. Again, this is one where it's kind of weird because he's been hurt, hasn't played as many games, but I think this ranking is still justified for the most part, to be honest. So he's going to go C tier. Next is Geno Smith. He's going to go A tier as well. Geno's been really good, and I think the Seahawks as a whole have not been talked about near as much as they should be. Geno's played at a very high level. Kenneth Walker has been phenomenal. I really think the Seahawks are quite underrated. I'm going to try and give Geno a lot of props here, putting him A tier. I feel like I'm being way too generous now looking at this, but seriously, I think everybody in that tier is deserving of it. It's just a very weird ranking given how this year's gone. Next is Daniel Jones. I don't know. He's such a weird one to rank. Like, he's not good at football, but he's also, like, they've had some pretty good wins this year. He's been better than I think people might have expected. C tier, B tier, I don't know. I'm just going to throw him C tier just to balance out the ranking. Could you put him B tier? Yeah, but at the same time, looking at the quarterbacks in that tier, I wouldn't put Daniel Jones on that level. So he's just going to go C tier. Next is Dak. Dak is also going to go A tier. I think Dak's been very good. Maybe not as good as he's been in the past at this point in the season, but I think he's still been very, very good. Could you move him down to B tier? Yeah, you probably could, but again, we'll have A tier. We'll probably move some of these guys around at the end of the video, just throwing that out there. Just trying to keep things moving for the sake of fluidity, just for the video, so we don't spend like 5 minutes on every single quarterback. Next is Will Levis. Yeah, that's D tier. Been pretty bad. I feel bad for him. He's had some very unfortunate pictures of him throughout the games but it's baffling. He's played very bad. I feel bad for him, but at the same time, it's like, hey, you can't turn backwards and dive like Superman and throw the ball backwards. Like, I don't know what he's doing, to be honest. So, yeah, he's going D tier. Next is Deshaun Watson, who, You could put D tier. You could probably put C tier. I mean, I guess I would technically have him above the guys in D tier, but not by a very large margin. In fact, he's probably the bottom of the C tier for me. Watson, he was really bad to start the year, and then he got kind of better-ish, but then the rest of the team wasn't that great, and they lost to the Raiders, and it was just, I don't know. I'm not a fan of him for any reason, really, if you know what I mean. Next is Lamar Jackson. He's going S tier. That's our last guy for S tier for right now. Again, hold on to that. I will say something in a second. But Lamar's been phenomenal. Very, very good. You could argue he's been the best quarterback in the league this year. I've always tried to show Lamar a lot of respect on my channel. I think all of the running back comments and stuff like that, I think is really ridiculous, to be honest. Lamar is very good as a passer. Is he a great rusher, which can kind of overshadow the passing sometimes? Yeah, sure. But if you're gonna make fun of anything, which I'm not going to, but if you were to, it should be postseason success. That's an actual flaw that he's shown. As a passer, I think he's been pretty good. But again, I don't know. I don't get it. He's going S tier. Love Lamar Jackson. He's been very, very good this year. Next is Jordan Love. This is one that's been kind of iffy to rank. So again, he played the first game, and then he kind of got hurt, and then he came back. So it's we haven't seen a whole lot of him. I'm going to just throw him in B tier. Love's been solid, but we haven't seen a whole lot. One of his games was 4 touchdowns and then 3 interceptions. So I don't know. It's kind of weird to rank him. I think so far, though, from what we've seen, if we want to get really technical, I would rank him on the same level of those quarterbacks. If he's been healthy, maybe he gets into A tier. But again, I'm just going to put him in B tier. I can't put him in A tier given the games he's missed. Next is Derek Carr. Carr's going to go B tier. Really great start to the year, and then kind of not fell off, but he's started to struggle a little bit. The Saints as a whole really just started to struggle. It's unfortunate because the offense, weeks 1 and 2, really, really good, but I guess, the 40 points a game wasn't sustainable, shockingly. With Derek Carr, B tier, hope he gets better soon. He's supposed to miss a few weeks. Spencer Rattler starting, really interesting. Carr's going B tier. Last one is, no, I guess it is kind of the last one because Aidan O'Connell hasn't played yet and we skipped over Tua. So what I wanted to say, I have 4 quarterbacks right there, and I have a lot of guys in A tier that you can make an argument for being in S tier, such as Dak, such as Jared Goff, such as Baker Mayfield even, or Patrick Mahomes. So comment down below which person from my A tier list you would move up to S tier. I'm going to keep the S tier at those 4 quarterbacks. I want you guys to tell me who I should put in the S tier or who you would put in the S tier, or even a guy from B tier. Would you move someone from B tier all the way up to S tier? I don't know. Let me know. Let me know down below. I feel bad not ranking Tua, but I just feel like anywhere we put him is just not right to the ranking. The Jordan Love one's kind of weird too, but again, there's just not much you can do when it comes to injuries. I still had to rank him somehow. If we wanted to, though, we could put Malik Willis B tier because he was really good. Again, it's kind of skewed. I don't like doing that, but definitely an argument there. So yeah, that's going to do it for the ranking, though. Let me know down below what you guys like or didn't like about my ranking, who you would put where, who your favorite quarterback is, all that kind of stuff. Be sure to leave a like down below and subscribe. It is free and takes just a second. I would really appreciate all the support on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.